All right. Another good question is Fabio Paratici to Milan? What? Why? Well, apparently AC Milan and Fabio Paratici talks have stalled. Former Juventus executive not expected to join the Italian side. Per reports, the Rossoneri were in advanced talks to appoint the former Juventus director of football. This comes from FanDuel, or CBS Sports, excuse me. CBS Sports says AC Milan need to restructure the club after a disappointing season, which have led the Rossoneri to make multiple changes. The team is set to appoint Italian director of football Fabio Paratici at the club, but the talks have stalled after legal issues between the two sides, per multiple reports. Milan were looking for a new sporting director over the past weeks, and Paratici emerged to become the strongest candidate, beating out others such as former Lazio headman Ilitare and Andrea Berta, who joined Arsenal. Milan CEO Furlani personally had talks with Paratici, who was ready to make his comeback in Serie A, where he had worked as sporting director at Sampdoria and at Juventus before moving to England, where he worked at Tottenham. The Italian director is still serving a 30-month ban for the capital gains investigation. Do you remember that? Which will end on July 20th. However, he's still an external consultant for Tottenham after his resignation in April 2023, and that hurdle seems likely to be too much to overcome. Milan, according to Gazzetta dello Sport, have restarted talks with the new sporting director, and Atalanta's Tony D'Amico and Tare is now also a candidate again. Okay. The 50-year-old Paratici has a long history in Italy, where he is the sports director at Sampdoria and at Juventus before becoming the CEO of football for the Bianconeri until the summer of 2021 when he moved to Tottenham. Paratici worked for years together with current Inter president Giuseppe Marotta, creating one of the most successful cycles in the recent history of Italian soccer. At Sampdoria, the duo achieved a historic Champions League qualification, while at Juventus, they both started a winning cycle with Antonio Conte as manager that lasted for a decade. So, Paratici, talks have stalled, but um, he was the guy who was tipped to be the new sporting director. How times have changed at Milan. What are your thoughts? I'm curious what your thoughts are with Paratici to Milan. I'm not going to make no bones about it. And a lot of people have commented about this already, I think. I would hope. But, like, what Marotta and Paratici did together, undeniable, right? Yeah, he got the little 30-month ban or whatever, but that notwithstanding, decade of dominance at Juventus with Juventus, right? Obviously bringing the likes of Ronaldo as well, but a decade of dominance in Serie A. That's pretty damn hard to do, especially obviously yes, Inter and Milan were in banter eras, but you had Napoli really pushing at the times, Roma as well, Lazio too. So what he did for them was remarkable. But I think most will agree, and we see this now with Inter. It's Marotta League. It's a Marotta League. It's Marotta is the one who's the true person behind it all, and it's evident because you look at him, what he did at Tottenham. They still haven't won a trophy. Right? They got rid of Harry Kane. I mean, I know he probably didn't have anything to do per se with that, but like you were there, you were responsible. Anyway, yeah, I don't think he's as good as they're making him out to be. So I'm glad the talks have stalled. But you go from Maldini and all of a sudden this immense ceiling that they could have reached, and then now they go to try to go to Paratici, and it's laughable. It really is laughable. It's disappointing as well. So like, I'm glad the talks have stalled. They talk about some of the other names like um, Ilitare and Andrea Berta and Tony D'Amico. Okay, I think of all of them, Antonio Tony D'Amico is the current sporting director for Atalanta, right? Because if he is, that would be that'd be who I'd want. I think just because he doesn't spend too much money, done an amazing job with Atalanta. Um, that's not the guy who won it. Looking at Atalanta. Yeah, oh, there's the guy. There you go. Yeah, I mean, if he's willing to leave Atalanta after all the shit that they did together, if he is the guy who I'm thinking is the guy who, obviously Gasparini has a lot to do with it, but if he's willing to come to Milan and he is that the guy who spearheaded the Atalanta movement, um, yeah, I'd take him. I'd take him. I don't know how much it would cost. You know, Daddy Cardinale has the pockets, right? So you should be able to spend for whatever you want, whatever he needs for him, right? But that would be my pick. If you look at the option to him, Tare and Berta and Paratici. Who would you guys take? If you're a Milan fan, who you looking for sporting director? It's got to be someone who's doing better than what's going on right now. It's just right now it's laughable. The whole team needs to change. I think everything needs to change with Conceição. I think Conceição still needs another opportunity. Needs an off season to build his team. Because coming in the middle of the season is hard. Right? So, well, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Paratici's a no for me, and I hope that it continues. And hey, I'm throwing my money into Tony D'Amico from Atalanta. So we'll see. I'm curious what other nominations or names are out there, but yeah, Fabio Paratici is a hell no for me. Hell no. Though I wouldn't be surprised if they win Paratici because everything we've seen lately has just been laughable by Milan, and they're in ninth place and deserve to be ninth place, right?